Hey guys, what's up? It's Fletch here again, and today we are going to talk more about setting up multiplayer servers for Unreal Engine. And in this video I won't be going too in depth with anything in particular because I'm trying to really get a sense for what is needed from the community trying to develop these games and then making more videos related to that. So to begin this video, I'm actually going to address some of the comments I got from the first video. First off, there's a comment asking about how to update the project to the newest version of Unreal, and just like I did in the video, if you rewatch it, you can see that I'm getting it from the GitHub. This is how I have to basically get it now because I'm using the source build of Unreal. There are most certainly more efficient ways of downloading and installing and upgrading a project than how I do it. I just find it the easiest way of just straight up downloading the new version of Unreal straight from as a zip, installing it, and then upgrading my project. But there's definitely an easier way of you literally using GitHub properly to just get those new files. And I'm sure there's other tutorials out there on how to do that. I just don't know, sorry. And then the next comment I have is asking about how many players Unreal can handle inside a level at once, and I'm not sure if there's a limit. I actually doubt there would be, but it would all be dependent on how much you're replicating to the server, because this can really bring down the performance of your game as a whole if you're just replicating stuff over and over because you're just sending more information. So really it's important in that aspect if you're trying to get as many people or players in a game at once to replicate as little as possible. And I struggle with this sometimes because sometimes it's hard to know what does and doesn't need replicating, so you need to constantly test what works and what doesn't, and then you need to test with another person on what works and what doesn't, so it can become fairly complicated, but it's all about testing, retesting with another player. So for example, I have a laptop which helps me a lot to test as another player. However, as you develop your game, you'll eventually get used to what does and doesn't need replication and how that whole process works, and you'll see the performance benefits of reducing as much replication as you can. And there's actually this awesome video from the official Unreal Engine YouTube channel which is still relevant today for what I'm doing, and hopefully for you, that is all about networking in Unreal and optimizing servers. I'll link that in the description. It's very helpful and it helped me a lot. As for this next comment, I will lightly touch on how I did the MySQL for my game. Basically, the biggest part of doing SQL in my game was to use this MySQL integration plugin, and this cost a bit of money. However, I think it's well worth it as it basically allows you to not have to step into any code, which I like, no C++. It just gives you everything in node form, from updating queries to select, insert, deleting, everything you need for SQL functionality. Another small thing I'll touch on while we're on the subject of plugins is how to actually install plugins into the source build version of Unreal, as you'd usually do it from the Epic Games launcher. You'd install it to the engine. However, you can't really do that with the source build as far as I know. So I actually add the plugin to a previous version of Unreal which is installed using the Epic Games launcher, and then from there I drag the plugin from the folder structure into my actual project that I'm developing. And now that we're on the subject of plugins, I guess I'll talk about quickly this advanced session plugin, which you can download from this GitHub site. And this one's a lot easier to do than the other plugins that come from the launcher because it's literally already a folder, so you just drag that into your plugins folder and then enable it in the engine through the plugins window. And this plugin is great because it adds a lot more functionality to the create session and join session that already exists in Unreal. It exposes a lot more variables that you can pass through and use. I think where this plugin really shines though is the Steam integration, as it allows you to basically easily get a hold of the player's friends, inviting them, getting your Steam name to have like as a name tag, for example. It's just a very helpful plugin, and I highly recommend it if you're looking to do anything with Steam, or even multiplayer for that matter. You may as well grab it. Another quick thing I need to add on to this video is the port that I actually found out I needed to have in the default engine.ini file. Now, I might not be correct about this, but this is what I needed to really get my dedicated server running. Before this, it wouldn't work. I was using the default port 7777, and that just wasn't working for me for some reason, so I had to go and basically find this somehow on this random site, which is the proper port you need for Steam matchmaking. So it's the site called speedguide.net, and on the specific page, which I'll link in the description, it'll give you the port you need for Steam matchmaking. So you might have found a way around not needing to get this or use this, but I found I needed to do it, so I thought I'd add that important information onto this video. Anyway guys, that'll do for this video. I am thinking of making more. I just kind of need to figure out what the next video could look like, or what direction I want to go in terms of more detailed content. The game you've been seeing little bits and pieces of is something I've been working on for a while, and I want to release in the next month. And I think following that release I can make a lot more detailed content showing exactly how that game was built, which I think a lot of you guys would appreciate, because it gives you a real example of a game that is fully multiplayer, with a dedicated server, with SQL integration, with basically everything a modern AAA basically multiplayer game has, all in blueprints. And I think that would provide a really good example and something to follow and use as a resource for you guys. So I think that's all for now. Let me know in the comments what you guys want from me in the future. I'll try and address your comments in every video I make, and maybe even make more detailed videos on that individual topic. But yeah, I'm still sort of trying to figure out which is the best avenue to go down right now. So thanks for watching guys. I appreciate all the support in that last video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.